times.
Oh
Jeremy talked about the importance of Colress Experiment.
Uh-oh.
And prize cards isn't where you want to find those.
Absolutely not, especially those position in the prize cards as well. For Nick Moffitt, that is super rough to see over on Brandon's side. We said that VMAX isn't too big of a deal, probably won't even be seen in this matchup, but that Galarian Weezing being the prize cards there, kind of rough. We see a Dark Patch as well as a boss's order, a big Paracel too, so oof. Prize cards are, I don't know, maybe a little rougher there for Nick.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Nick got the bad end there.
Yes.
But we're gonna go ahead and get that handshake underway. We have 75 minutes to crown a winner and reach the finalist table here in Knoxville.
Absolutely, this is huge. Masters top 4, starting over here on Nicholas Moffitt's side of the field. So let's see what is in the starting hand. Like Jeremy said, we need to see as many cards hit the lost zone as fast as possible. So
we need Pokemon too, and I don't see those. This is not ideal. It's just the Cramorant and the Scoop Up Net. Gonna have to bring this Cramorant into the active spot, place down the Comfey once more, retreat,
hard retreat
and get that card into the lost zone. Can you find anything to help?
Oh, that's going to be Raihan and another energy, the fighting energy. So right now, just the ordinary rod in the lost zone. Going to have to lost zone another one of these cards. Going to be the fighting energy on next side. So 2 in the lost zone at this point. But yeah, there's no other Pokemon.
Yeah, unlike Lugia, this is...
Oh wait,
these
Monkey.
Oh, okay, let's go for the Primate Wisdom one time. Grass Energy.
Oh.
Yeah, unlike against Lugia, we see a lot of players really excited to go for the go first and get all their stuff down, have a good time.
Yeah.
Both these players like going second, especially in this matchup.
True.
Nicholas wants to have access to the Colress Experiment, draw into multiple Colress Experiment, and get those cards into the lost zone. Brandon wants to get the Ascension. Of course, he does have the opportunity to use the Boost Shake on the first turn, but it's unrealistic with just the 2 Forest Seal and the 1 Boost.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one copy of that card. But hey, Ascension can do the same thing you're trying to achieve here. So going second is quite nice here for Brandon. It is pretty rare that we see 2 decks that both want to go second.
No, you start. I insist.
Yeah, like, no, you can go first.
Some
That's
true
fine.
gentlemen, and that works out just perfectly with the top hat of the Galarian Weezing.
Yo, that's so true. Love it, Kyle. Love it.
What a gentleman there.
Having a rootin' tootin' time here in Knoxville. All right, here we go. Brandon Salazar carrying us through this turn. 2 coughings already down onto the field. That quick ball discarding a choice belt there for that second coughing. Sorting through the deck here, mapping out the prize cards.
Yep, not going to find that too much is prize there. You don't need too much to get rolling, and this hand is good. Has the quick ball to find the Crobat if you need to find some additional cards, and has the Dark Energy already in hand. So as long as you don't draw all of your Galarian Weezing, which we saw 1 in the prizes, and there's always potential to draw into 2, but as long as you don't do that, you're probably set up pretty nice.
That would be pretty wild to see, honestly. But yeah, just speaking of this Crobat, though, oh my gosh, the MVP of this deck. I think Brandon is able to draw so many cards with the Crobat, and I think that's what we're about to see here. E-turn and debating that Galarian Zigzagoon there, but just going to attach here first, of course, get that card out of the hand onto that coughing because we're going to be using that Ascension. Crobat's going to draw into several more cards here for the hand for Brandon with that Dark Acid ability.
Ooh, found the Judge. That is exactly what you're looking for.
My goodness.
Nick tried to hold on to that Colress Experiment. It was one of the 2 that he has in deck, and is not going to be able to do just that now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure,
crucial.
even if the Monkey was able to help out in that situation and put it on top, because it was a Judge and not a Marnie, we're not going to see that.
Yeah, that's true. Everything gets shuffled back. It doesn't just go to the bottom there. So not even going to be able to rescue it there. No savior of that Oranguru. But yep, here we go. Nick needs to find that Colress to get things rolling, but there's only 2 in the deck here for Nicholas Moffitt. So let's see if he can get lucky off of these 4 drawn. Did I see it actually? I don't know.
It might be there.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Brandon actually almost got unlucky there. I think he found one of the copies of the Galarian Weezing, but thankfully has 1 left in the deck.
Yeah,
so we'll be able to Ascension.
You don't get off the Crobat, but then you get off of Judge. That would be horrible. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. So Brandon's still safe here. There's 1 left in the deck. That Galarian Weezing is going to be in the active position now. Of course, that's the end of the turn, but hey, there's gas on the field now, Kyle.
That's right. Owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome showing up here, and we'll see if Nick has anything to say about that. I think he does have that Colress Experiment.
No way.
Oh, does he? Ooh. I see the Mirage Gate again. Oh,
know,
no, it's not there.
They're all like the same color cards,
I know.
so it's so
They're
hard
all
to
pretty,
tell.
but they don't work.
Yes.
He's just got to pass the turn.
No, it's just going to be a pass back to Brandon here. Back over on to the dark side of the field.
Boo-ha-ha.
All right, here we're starting off with an Ultra Ball. Look at that. Surprise, surprise, another Crow baby.
Yep, they draw a lot of cards, and you know, Mew and Genesect thought that they were the ones who drew all the cards. This is the original OG Dark Asset
right?
trying to help out here. You're going to need to find that Eternatus VMAX if you want to make some additional bench space. We talked about how it's not really pivotal in this matchup to get this Pokemon down, but to have all the spots to draw into more cards is the way that you keep this Weezing active and keep putting on the pressure.
Absolutely, and that was a ton of cards. That was an empty hand Brandon had, so just drawing into a fresh 6, not even having played a supporter yet. Absolutely bananas. And that's why this deck is so strong, too. You can Crobat for cards, but then you still have the ability to judge as well. Galarian Weezing remaining there in the active position, but another one is already lined up there on the bench as well. Let's see what Nick Moffitt can do with this now that the poison is ticking away here on that active Comfey.
Yep, and being knocked out going into your opponent's turn is one of the worst feelings in the game.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Almost as bad as when your opponent doesn't let you use any of your abilities. Oh, that's happening too?
Oh, wait.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of bad things happening for Nick right now. He's going to go ahead and grab that Raikou. It has 110 hit points. If you do lose this Pokemon, it's not the end of the world. You get knocked out going into your turn. So we'll see if maybe he uses that as a way to buy some time here. I don't think he's going to be able to get this Pokemon charged up anytime soon, as obviously only 2 cards are in the loss zone.
Yeah, absolutely. That is tough.
Well, it looks like knockout there. Comfey is going to go down, and Nick left with the decision of which Pokemon with more than 80 hit points goes into the active. It's going to be Cramorant this time around.
Cramorant hoping to beef through this here. Only 2 cards there in the lost zone, but yeah, that Pokemon, oh, how am I blinking on this? Checkup phase. There we go. The checkup phase is what we go into, and that is where that Comfey got knocked out there. Brandon able to take that single prize card off of that knockout and just run away with his turn here. We are going to see the VMAX here expand the bench to 8 Pokemon.
This is for the Hisuian Sneasler, which is actually going to work the math out perfectly now. 110 hit points looked like enough, but now we're working in increments of 120 if you get knocked out going into your opponent's turn. And Brandon correctly identifies this and has another great opportunity to just keep working in the poison damage for knockouts.
Absolutely. So that poison damage has now been boosted. Nick Moffitt sitting here absolutely struggling, just having to pass. The Cramorant is now down into the discard pile. Brandon taking another easy prize card, going down to only 4 left, and Nick Moffitt's just not able to do anything. We're just seeing a pass back to Brandon, who, I mean, this board stage just looks ridiculous right now, Kyle.
This is the most aesthetically pleasing board in America right now. This is exactly what you're looking to see here, as Brandon has 2 benches and is just taking prize cards left and right, finding everything that he needs here. And you can't ask for much more if you're Brandon. This is exactly how you drew it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just dominating this Lost Box deck. I mean, Lost Box is such a powerful deck, but we can just see from Nick here throwing up a Comfey that's absolutely useless to this Galarian Weezing right now. Brandon is so established. Nick can't do anything, and this is just tough to watch, Kyle.
Well, let's watch anyways.
I know, we're doing
Nick is just going to draw Comfey past the turn.
Oh my gosh.
I think we're getting close to the point where you probably concede here, but you got 75 minutes. You might as well wait it out and see if some miracle happens with a top deck Colress experiment.
Maybe?
One time?
One
nope.
time?
Save life.
There's only 2. Oh, it is going to be the same.
Well, maybe we can get a scratch off, you know?
This is actually one of the most wild games I think I've seen. Kyle, why is it that every game we cast, only one player can play? Only one trainer?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how this works in Pokemon right now. It's either your Lugia or you do something wacky that hurts your opponent to the point where they don't play Pokemon.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Brandon has definitely done that. He's actually the only player to actually take a win off of Andrew Hedrick this tournament. He conceded to Piper in that game.
There we go.
We're going to see the extension there. Just a quick game 1 with a lot of poison damage getting racked up, and the top hat himself is taking game number 1.
Yeah, Kyle, that was brutal to watch, unfortunately, there for Nicholas Moffitt. That was an unfortunate turn of events, of course, only having 2 Colress even in the deck. not drawing into absolutely anything that is useful there. I'm sure he is not happy to see that, but hopefully we can clean it up here, go into a game 2. There we go. He's like, well, what am I supposed to do?
What did you expect, guys? I'm trying.
He's trying, exactly.
My deck needs one turn to do things, and I didn't get to do it. He went first, so we'll see maybe if this game he gets to go second, takes the risk of Brandon not being able to find that boost shake. And I think that's kind of the way you have to play this matchup. Get that one big turn, get to 5 in the Lost Zone with a Culver's Experiment, and then find the Culver's Experiment off the Judge or the Marnie, get to 7, maybe you get to play Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to say, I mean, it's great to see Brandon back on the stream now and just absolutely dominating with this E-turn deck. E-turn Weezing has kind of like been a meme, I suppose, in our community.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's definitely a rogue deck. It's not a meta choice whatsoever, but Brandon is proving the opposite here. Has battled through, I mean, we have 1,300, I think, almost competitors in our field, and Brandon's sitting here in our top 4 with Eternatus. So that is just mind-boggling to see, and I'm sure very inspirational for everybody on the dark side.
Yep, this is a deck that a lot of players like to bring, and of course they don't really play it at the regional events. Usually you want to play something that gets a lot more wins, and Brandon said, you know what, I'm going to do both things and find all the victories with 12 wins already throughout this tournament, and he's looking to add one more here with an opportunity.
That's one less Culver's Experiment.
Is that good?
Is it better? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one less, but still rough to see for Nick Moffitt there. In the prize cards, we saw Mirage Gate in there, Galarian Zigzagoon. I didn't register the other 3, but
yeah, there's only one card we're looking at, and it's those Culver's Experiments. You need to have those, and you need to have 2 in the first 2 turns, basically, if you want to feel comfortable in this matchup. So having one of the prizes, not ideal.
Not ideal indeed, Kyle. Well, we're going to see the conclusion potentially of this if Brandon can just run away with another game. That'd be a wild 2-0 to take, unfortunately, for Nick Moffitt. But hey, there's some action to be done here. Let's check out the prize cards. Ooh, the boost.
I don't think it depends on who's going first, though. So we'll see if it looks like Brandon is actually going first. Imagine if he finds the Seal Stone and then doesn't find the boost shake there.
Oh, that'd be so tragic. That would be so tragic. Yeah, the one way for you to be able to evolve there with the boost shake, but yeah, it's not in there. There's only one copy, so.
This is actually a hand that would have been able to find it.
Really?
He's got the Crobat, he's got an Ultra Ball, he's got an Energy as well. He really has, he can basically play down the entire hand if he wants to, and Crobat Dark Asset all the way up. And he would have probably had some decent odds to finding the right cards.
I'm kind of salty about that, because how often do we get to see Boost Shake on the first turn? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we also get to watch Pokemon now because Nick gets to play,
yeah,
so that's
totally
good.
True. That is very true. This start not having the boost shake is definitely going to make it so Nick actually has a chance here to pop off on this first turn. Of course, it's going to depend on that opening hand, but yeah, hopefully we'll see a nice clean game between these players. I mean, Nick got so unlucky with those prize cards in the last game, so hey, I guess it's Brandon's turn at this point.
Yeah, eventually you're going to have to do that, and I think Brandon, the very first search he's looking for was the one of boost shake.
Yeah,
finds the Coughing. Has some additional resources, but yeah, it's maybe gonna be using Ascension or Evolving.
Absolutely. So here we go. 2 Coughings down here, still looking through the deck, mapping out the prize cards. That Ultra Ball, of course, discarding the Galarian Zigzagoon and an Energy.
Yep, Galarian Zigzagoon not very important for the numbers in this matchup.
Yeah.
A lot of Pokemon just get knocked out, as we saw.
They're tiny.
With the Radiant Sneasler there, so nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that Radiant Sneasler is perfect for this matchup.
Yep, it lines up very strong with most of the deck there. Nick, a lot of his Pokemon either above that 60 range, but not at the 130. So you get to have all these Pokemon knocked out going into your turn as the Dark player. We're going to see that Dark Patch there.
Love it.
And that's a pretty nice Dark
goodness.
Asset to draw up. Finds the Forest Seal Stone.
Wow.
Would have had it.
My gosh, Kyle. Oh, so close, yet so far there from Brandon's side of the field. That Dark Patch is nice. Dark Patch is great because it just makes it so much easier to choose your discards as well. Just grab that energy right back out of the discard pile, put it on that Eternatus V, but here we go. That's the first turn there for Brandon, lacking the boost that was in the prize card, but hey, let's see what Nick Moffitt can pull off on this first turn. Did you get a look at the hand, Kyle?
Well, I see a Battle VIP pass, and that's what you're looking for. I don't think we saw the Colress Experiment in hand, so that's going to be the one thing that's looked for with the Comfey, using flower selecting. But Nick's going to look and see all of the cards. Of course, you got to track all of these different energies that you play. So many different basic energy types when you play the Amazing Rare Rayquaza. Because usually you're looking to hit some pretty big numbers. This matchup, not as much, but it is nice to have a response if the Eternatus ever comes out to play.
Absolutely. So here are the two Pokemon being drawn off of that Battle VIP pass. We're going to see that Radiant Greninja, so crucial for Nick to be able to draw into more cards. You know, with that, plus the flower selectings and pivots into other Comfey as well, we can see a lot of cards that are hopefully mapped into the Lost Zone here on Nick Moffitt's side, which is so crucial for this first turn. So it's actually turned out pretty nice here, as long as we can see, you know, a little energy discard here, some nice flower selecting choices, hopefully, knock on wood here for Nick Moffitt. Let's see what he can pull off with this first turn.
Yeah, the difference when you're playing against the Radiant, or the Galarian Weezing, as opposed to the Vikavolt, is that you need to get 3 flower selectings off this turn. You have to get to that increment so that you have the extra cards that get to the Lost Zone from the Colress Experiment. You're not going to be able to use that flower selecting while you're under an item lock. It doesn't work like that. You're always going to be stuck under the ability lock there. So we have to see 3 really strong flower selectings and maybe get to that Colress Experiment.
Absolutely. Kyle, would you rather have an item lock or an ability lock?
I have played a lot of Pokemon in my days, and I really don't like being ability locked. That is the one thing that really hurts me.
So that Galarian Weezing is your worst nightmare, huh?
Yes, yep. I see top hats every time I close my eyes.
I think it's also Nick Moffitt's worst nightmare at this point in time.
He's going to remember this, yeah. Especially if these flower selectings don't go well here.
Oh,
finally, we're going to see the deck shuffled up, and he's going to have that opportunity ahead of him. These top cards are going to be very important.
All right, we'll see what we can get from this first flower selecting. This is huge, and oh my goodness, 2 energy.
It's like, well, that's not helpful.
No, you want to see a Colress's Experiment, which is still not in the hand here. Now Nick Moffitt's just calculating, okay, which one do I need more?
Yeah, he's basically deciding, do I like Raikou more or Rayquaza?
Yes, exactly.
And then he's decided that he likes the Raikou.
There we go. Here's our next one. Still in the first turn, so it was between...
oh, well, this is concealed cards.
Oh, this is concealed cards. Oh, okay, so just drawing into both of those cards. There was another Battle VIP drawn off of that concealed cards, which still can be used for the turn, so that's nice. And then was the second one in the Scoop Up Net?
Yeah, well, I think he's been holding on to double Scoop Up Net. I didn't see what was added, but you should probably use the Battle VIP pass here. Thinning is winning, but he's not going to go for it. Let's see if he's rewarded. No, sirree, Bob.
Gosh. These flower selecting, it's another energy and energy recycler as well.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate. Finds a grass energy, so if there was one to lose, it's going to be that one. That's the one you play 3 copies of as opposed to 2 of all the others. But we'll see if he values it here, thinking maybe there's an opportunity to use Scoop Up Nets, run Radiant Greninja or something like that to draw extra cards.
So what is the choice behind not Battle VIPing first?
Yeah, not sure. Might have already seen all the cards that he wants to play down onto the board. Maybe he has an idea of how he wants to set up the board state here, but he was going to go ahead and grab the Comfey anyways, so we'll see if maybe this flower selecting has something to help. Really looking for the Colress Experiment and finds Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Yep, that Hisuian Heavy Ball is going to take us into the prize cards here for Nicholas Moffitt. At least gets to get a look at the prize cards and also get a basic Pokemon out of them as well, which we did see in the prize cards for Nicholas. But yeah, that's not a Colress. 3 cards in the Lost Zone now, but my goodness.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe the Galarian Zigzagoon is a Pokemon that you think about. You're not going to be able to use the ability in too many situations, but every once in a while, if you can get that extra damage in play, maybe sneak it into the onto the Koffing early, then you can set up a knockout for a different Pokemon here.
Yeah, I mean, it's between that or the Rayquaza.
And we already threw away
yes,
a fighting
exactly.
energy.
Yeah. And the fighting energy's gone. So it seems like the better pick here. So it is going to be the Galarian Zigzagoon drawn out of the prize cards there off that ball. And then Brandon is going to shuffle, and then we're going to see the layout of those prize cards for Nick Moffitt. Maybe that Colress will be moved to the bottom, potentially, of the prize cards, which would be a little better, I suppose. Well, but we'll see what happens.
Don't think we've seen the retreat yet, so that's why you hold on to the grass as opposed to the recycler. He found a supporter, but I don't think that's the right one. Is that just Raihan added?
Raihan is added. Temple of Sinnoh going into Lost Zone. That brings us to 4 here. And now we see the Battle VIP.
All right, now we're in desperate monkey mode. I like it.
Yeah. The inevitable, I suppose.
Yes. We'll see if that's the play here.
Oh,
I mean,
you
really would love to find one more scoop up net or the Colress experiment here, obviously. And I think you almost have to just risk it and see if the top of the deck can help.
Yeah, we might see that Oranguru trying to come through with the saving grace here for Nicholas Moffitt. We need to see a Colress so bad. All right, it's going to be the Raikou coming out of the deck here.
I don't know if we're going to see it. Maybe Nick feels comfortable with the way this board is already set up here. The hand didn't look too strong, but Raihan can, of course, give you some opportunities to maybe find some of those Colress experiments down the road.
I mean, honestly, if I believe in any Lost Box player, Nicholas Moffitt is going to be one of those players, because we saw that achievements list. Nicholas Moffitt is so familiar with several different versions of Lost Box, so there's probably some sort of strategy in Nick's mind that I couldn't even think of, because I'm sure he's played tons of matchups with this deck, but also don't think he was prepared to play against an Eternatus dark deck in top 4. So here we go. We're going to see that Galarian Zigzagoon come down to ping the Coughing in the active position with that Headbutt Tantrum, putting 10 damage onto the Coughing.
Yep, this can be relevant, as of course when you evolve into the Galarian Weezing, you have 130 hit points. Lines up very well with the Raikou if you can use the Amazing Shot. Take a knockout there. Would have loved to see another scoop up net, and then you could have worked in the damage on another Coughing, but you get into a situation where Brandon just evolves the other one. So not too bad here. It's going to have that going for him, but we're going to be pretty dependent on the top of the deck or the Raihan to help out from this stage on if we want to get cards into the Lost Zone.
Yeah, absolutely. The Lost Zone is going to be what pretty much turns on the deck here for Nicholas Moffitt. So enacting potential attackers, that Mirage Gate as well. That's where Nick is leading. At least there's 4, which is more than the last game we saw, but here we go now to Brandon's side of the field. That Galarian Weezing joining us here, not just 1, but 2 onto the field now. Forest Seal Stone is being flipped here for Brandon, allowing him to go into his deck, choose any single card from there. Doesn't even have to reveal it, put it into the hand.
We've seen Brandon go for this before. A lot of times he doesn't have the cards he exactly needs for the setup, but goes for the judge anyways and just expects to get there. And honestly, he might. The deck has a lot of opportunities. There's still 7 more energies that could be played onto the Galarian Weezing there. And of course, anytime that you draw into that Crobat, that's going to be a live answer to more cards.
Absolutely.
All right, now there's 5 energies as we lose the Hiding Dark.
There we go. We are going to see that judge. So both players are going to be shuffling those hands. Nicholas did have the Raihan in hand. So I mean, I guess could have used that in the later. Actually, no, because Raihan says you have to be knocked out from damage.
No, it's just if they get knocked out last turn.
All right, never mind then. So could have used that down the line, but hey, now Nick has a chance.
Well, it's during your opponent's last turn. Yeah, the interaction there is interesting.
It is a little weird interaction for sure. But hey, we might see a Colress now, which is what we're hoping for here.
Yeah, I mean, desperately looking for that. And that's, I mean, obviously Nick wasn't able to line that up, and Brandon identified that. He would have been able to play that supporter for the turn. So Judge being the play doesn't always line up, but a lot of his supporters are just those disruption cards. Does have the Crobat. Hope's not gone.
Snap. Just looking at that hand that Nick drew into. All right, here we go. Big Parasol coming down onto the, potentially coming down. No, we're actually not. We're going to keep the Parasol in hand and draw
the energy anyways
into another, 3 cards off of the Dark Asset. Crobat here finds the energy needed.
Yep, this means that Brandon will be able to apply pressure onto the Comfey there. Has the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler
with the quick ball
to go along with this. And
brutal.
Yeah, I think he actually gets to hold on to a quick ball as well in the hand, so we'll have access to more cards with Crobat on the following turn. Really strong hand here off the judge. We've come to expect this. A little disappointed with the way the bench is set up right now, but hey, we'll take the damage.
Hey, that was a beautiful turn there from Brandon. Severe poison is in play, which of course, that poison peak from the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler is buffing that poison damage as well in between turns here. Nick Moffitt over on the side here. The hand off the judge was a Rangaroo, which the bench is full. We saw the Battle VIP pass and a quick ball here. So quick balling away the Battle VIP pass for that Raikou, and I think it was just another energy.
Yeah, there's not much going on in this hand, it looked like.
No,
so it's very similar
not.
Position to game one, and this just shows off the power of that Galarian Weezing, being able to use that neutralizing gas ability, locking out all of these great abilities on the other side from Nicholas that he uses so frequently in these early turns. It looks like is there actually escape rope, but this is the problem. Your opponent has 2 Galarian Weezing. Brandon thought of everything here.
At least this is the one without an energy.
Yeah, well, you know, every time Brandon has a judge, he basically has an energy. He always finds a way to get it.
Or, I mean, just a Crobat as well.
That's
to
true.
draw into a ton more cards. Or just do both,
Honestly,
right, Kyle?
just pass. Who cares?
Yeah.
You'll find an energy eventually.
That's so true. Oh, no. Yeah, Nick Moffitt. Lost Zone is at 4, but things are just slipping away here, unfortunately. No abilities can be used, and that is the backbone of this deck. So we're just going to see the manual attachment here from Nick and pass back to Brandon. Brandon's going to start off with a quick ball here, discarding an E-turn into, I'm sure, what is going to be a Crobat.
Ooh, good card, yeah. Lined up that Dark Asset ability once more. We've seen the big Parasol in the hand for Brandon.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if now's the time to play that card. Guarantee that you get this Dark Energy. Well, not guaranteed, but increase the odds. Put some pressure on this Comfey before you get spinning attacked. We don't want to get knocked out that way. That'd be pretty embarrassing on the big stage.
Yeah, that would be the first time I've seen that, that's for sure. All right, here we go, Dark Asset. So Big Parasol is going to stay in the hand. We're going to draw another 4 cards. Energy is found. For that Galarian Weezing, we're seeing the 60 damage here because the boost of that Hisuian Sneasler. Nick Moffitt going to retreat out, which does get rid of that poison, of course, into the Galarian Zigzagoon. Just pass it back to Brandon. We're going to see the energy come down, preparing that second Galarian Weezing, and that's what we're going to see, just 60 damage. 60 damage. Over and over again, just as last time.
Brutal.
Wow.
Brandon has all 3 of these Galarian Weezings ready to go with energies. So plenty of poison left to be had. And Nick did find the Raihan, so I guess we'll see what the interaction of that
I feel like
that works like. I don't think it does work, but
yeah,
we'll
I don't
see.
think it works. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. I mean, yeah, we'll see if I guess Nick tries to use it, but we are going to see that Sableye come down on Nick's side of the field. Yeah, that's going to be it.
This is the only Pokemon that doesn't get knocked out going into the other turn. So I guess this would work for the Raihan now. It's the only Pokemon it really works for.
That is very true.
And that's why we see Galarian Zigzagoon added to the board here. I think Brandon understands the interactions of this deck pretty well. He said, yeah, we're not going to do this.
Nick's only chance here to bring it back with at least the Raihan getting something into the hand, but that is going to be taken away from this Galarian Zigzagoon, pinging for that 10 damage needed to knock out the Radiant Greninja, and then that Comfey is going to go down as well for Nick Moffitt.
Yep, and of course, they talk about it. Raihan is available now because this Comfey was knocked out from the poison damage. And Nick said, finally, I get to play Pokemon. I've been waiting,
you can see
waiting for this moment for so long. He's going to play down everything here, has the amazing shot lined up. He's throwing cards left and right, and I don't know if that interaction went well.
I think moving a little too fast there, and we're going to have to pause the game real quick to see what's going on. I think Nick Moffitt is just not having a good time.
No, I think he saw a card he wasn't supposed to see, and
things were flown around.
That is sometimes a 2-prize penalty, and we can't afford those right now.
No, not when you're.
But I mean, you think about this situation. Yeah, you look at it, the amazing shot lines up really well. You've got the knockout on that benched Galarian Weezing. You'd be able to take the KO there, get enough damage onto the active one to maybe knock it out on the following turn. And this is the situation he's been waiting for. Finally had an opportunity and just played it a little too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not super surprised. This is top 4, and Nick Moffitt's been here plenty of times, and this is just a frustrating match. Like, this is a rough matchup to be playing, and I'm sure after so many turns of not being able to do anything, having to sacrifice so many prize cards, just rushing into that turn, I think it's pretty common. Common human error.
I feel like we've seen this situation a lot before. I don't want to guess what the judges are going to go to, but I initially think you see a card that you're not supposed to, you reveal it to your opponent, and then you get a 2 prize penalty. And in this situation, that's just really unfortunate. And I think he's wearing it right now. You can see it's a really bad situation to
dropping
find yourself in.
the coins there.
What do you do?
I feel for him. I do.
It hurts. And on the other side, Brandon is going to stay professional with it, of course. He's done everything that he needs to do. He's played this game flawlessly, and he's got his eyes on 3 more prize cards. If he does, he's going to be in the finals, where we've got a pretty great match on the other side, too, with Rahul Reddy trying to take down the, 14-2 now, Andrew Hedrick. This is like ridiculous that he has that record going in with this Lugia deck. He's been a phenomenal player as of late with the Peoria plays, and we also saw the Orlando win, too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so judges here discussing everything that's going on our fields.
Yeah, it looks like Nick, obviously, drawing into that extra card, he was trying to use a Rangaroo, which is the way that you always play this game in any other situation.
Yes.
And the ability is still locked in. And I guess you kind of forget when you get that extra energy, you're going through the deck, you actually got to do some actions, which are something that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's almost like when you play the Vikavolt match. Like, you finally get through that turn where you're not being item locked, and you're like, cool, let me play items.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like that, but it wasn't. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Of course, the abilities were still locked under that Galarian Weezing. So, unfortunately for Nick, it was still just moving too quickly. Because if it could have been like, hey, I'm going to Primate Wisdom, reaching for it, hey, you can't do that. Could have been stopped. But Nick was just moving so fast, being comfortable to potentially use an ability there, save the turn. So unfortunate to see for sure. But hey, again, how often do you see Galarian Weezing come out? And how often do you have to work with these interactions? Even us, we were confused about the Raihan. We're like, does that go through? Does it not go through? I don't know.
We're so used to maybe interactions with like Sableye, where you're placing damage counters for knockouts, and it's like, okay, well that works. But yeah, poison damage isn't something that you always see typically, especially on the main stage. Maybe when you're playing in the field and you're going to run into a Weezing player like once every 2 regionals or something like that. But we don't really see it on our tables too often, unless it's Brandon Salazar.
Well, let me search this card, make sure I read the text right for sure. But yeah, Brandon bringing the spice to us on the stream. Of course, we do have to wait for this conclusion for whatever ruling this is going to be. But I gotta say, Kyle, this has been brutal to watch. I'm gonna remember this matchup for a very long time.
I think Nick is going to remember it too. And
no!
Yeah, this is not how he had envisioned it. No. But honestly, when you look at the bracket and you see that there's an Eternatus player that could potentially be in your way in top 4, these are the situations that could happen. Yeah. He got lucky that he didn't run into the turn 1 boost shake. That was definitely going to be on the table there. We would have seen 0 Comfeys, which means all 4 of those cards in the lost zone would not have been there.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I mean, at that point, like, where do you even go from there? Of course, you probably play it out just because, like you said, 75 minutes, it's top 4, that's what you do. But no, it actually could have been a lot worse there for Nick, and that's really hard to admit because we are seeing Brandon absolutely dominate here on the field. But yeah, it could have been a lot worse, which is a little scary.
Yeah, you think about all the matchups that Nick likes to run into. He's built the deck for all of the standard decks that he could find, and this is the opposite of that. Yeah. There's 8 Pokemon in play on the other side of the board.
I wonder how many lost boxes Brandon has run through.
Probably a few. The math lines up so well. Everything just makes a lot of sense there. He's even finding his way to beat Lugias. Feels like he has a lot of pretty favorable matchups the way that's been working. We've heard a lot of players back and forth on that matchup. Lugia players feel like it's favored because there's a lot of Pokemon that you could target down. But how often do we see Brandon just play Judge? You don't find a way to switch the active Pokemon and the game ends.
So we did get confirmation here. That's going to be a double prize card penalty for Nicholas Moffitt because of trying to guru their Primate Wisdom, drawing the card, seeing a card that was not supposed to be seen. And that means Brandon Salazar has to take one less prize card, and there's only one left to take at this point.
There's a Eternatus VMAX that deals 270 damage right now. If there's a switch in hand, that would just be the game. And,
yeah, that's rough.
I feel like there might be.
Well, what a conclusion for our last cast here today, Kyle, huh?
We had a good run.
Let's go. All right. Yeah, this is definitely tough to watch, though, for sure. But, hey, it kind of plays into what we've run into all weekend. We've had some pretty biased casting as far as one person on our board can play, and the other one seems to be suffering quite a lot.
Yep.
So, hey.
Reveal the card to both players. It's going to be that psychic energy. Wildly irrelevant in this situation. And we're going to see the amazing shot here. One prize for Nick. I mean, that's something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Shout out to prize cards.
Yeah, we can go back down, I suppose, to the field soon here after everything has been concluded. Yep, there we go. So you see that penalty there.
Oh, he's not even going to take the prize card. He's just going to go after the Eternatus.
Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. Up to Brandon to just take this home with his turn.
Switch.
Oh, my gosh. That's the game.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Salazar moving into the finals here of Knoxville Regionals. 1,300 players tried, and only 2 will be there. Brandon is one of them.
And Kyle, let's just say, Brandon Salazar moving into our finals with Eternatus VMAX Galarian Weezing. I never thought I would say that. Didn't put that on my bingo card, but hey, congratulations there to Brandon. Unfortunate there for Nicholas Moffitt not being able to play the game. But hey, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes in the Pokemon TCG. And it is now Brandon's time to shine here. Yep.